Artivists, artist activists who have taken up the charge through their art to highlight social issues. We invite you to ask questions and get an inside look at the hearts and minds of these courageous creatives.
Welcome everyone with Leading with Artivism. Welcome to our new season for 2024. And we decided to launch for Women's Month and have a lady for you to meet here today. Her name is Sammie B. Let me tell you about Sammie B. Sammie B is a genre-defining female artist, musician, and creator from the Hudson Valley. She is a rapper, singer, songwriter, poet, DJ, and beat maker. Her taglines are, let me see if I get this right. Bling! I hope I got that right, Sammie. And also, I literally made the beat. Those are her recognizable taglines. She's a vibrant yet calming spirit. She is also a recovery coach for those struggling with substance abuse disorder and mental illness. And after many years of battling with depression, loss, heartbreak, and addiction, she lives to give others hope by telling her story of overcoming through music and art while radiating positive energy and authenticity. Sammie B makes music with the intention of making her listeners feel connected, supported, and empowered. Welcome, Sammie B.
Go, thank you so much. Bling! You did a good job.
I've been practicing for a while now. I've known you. I've known you for some time, for some years now, and you're an incredible artist. I definitely wanted to give you an opportunity to come onto the show, share your story. But let's begin to explore your work, okay? Your work, and you can describe what led you to creating some of these pieces. I know that you do work lyrically, poetically, visually, melodically, and I want to know how your work speaks to you and what you hope the viewer gets out of it, or whether there's any expectation whatsoever. So I know you have an art piece that's available. Can we bring that up?
Yeah.
Talk to us about this piece. What does it symbolize for you?
So this one is Into the Minds. And it was inspired by the thought processes of everything being black and white. Black or white, it's one way or the other. The more traditional way of thinking, or it should be like this, society's kind of limitations and boxes. And so I decided to show the duality of what it looks like when the more colorful minds, the more vibrant ones, the ones passionate enough to speak up and make a difference and make a change, and be a part of the evolution process, and how it's now starting to seep into those minds.
It also reminds me, to me, it has a very musicality visual to it as well. From a keyboard perspective, the black and white, keys, and then you have the colors of the LGBTQ community. What is the dripping of the red and the blue drip onto, I'm going to call it keys, onto the keys?
It's funny you say that. Because when I first started painting it, I did just the black and white, and a friend of mine stopped over and was like, "Are you painting a piano?" So it's funny you said that, but right. Yeah, I could see that. The drips are, for some reason, when I look at red and blue, it creates like this weird effect where it really stands out to me. But it's really just to represent the oozing out. But I will say that the blue represents more tears, and the blood is, and the red is the blood, and the rest is just kind of oozing.
Okay, all right. The tears and the blood. I get that. And the correlation between the fact that blood is blue as it goes through the veins. Mm-hmm. And when it's exposed to the earth, then you have the red. Let's talk about the next piece. This is fire. This is fire.
Thank you. So this one is At First Sight.
At First Sight.
At First Sight. And this was my first attempt at using a blow dryer to do the background.
Okay.
So, I did kind of the acrylic pour paint as the background. I taped out the section that I had painted in, so I taped over it this way it was plain. And then I did, you know, the different expressions of emotion in different colors, and I used the blow dryer to make it look like that. And then I painted in there the eyeball with the tongue sticking out, and in the somebody holding a bleeding heart.
Mm.
And really, it could represent so many things. And I think that's the beauty of art, really, is that, you know, you could interpret it so many different ways. But for me, it represented, you know, the attraction, almost they say like the fatal attraction, right? Like attraction to someone else, and, you know, being so willing to rip your heart out for them to take it, you know, over just mere attraction, you know. And that's kind of the tongue. It's representing like the lust of it, and, you know, those types of feelings. So
and that's At First Sight. You said the piece is called At First Sight.
At First Sight, yeah. At
First Sight, and, you know, and that is so true though. When you talk about things that you look at and initially you are attracted to before you can relate to the depth of it. I mean, and that can go from a human being to a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Really, you can look at a piece of cake in a window and go, wow, that cake looks really good, until you taste it. You know, then you may find out it doesn't agree with your palate. And so, but I find what I find interesting about this piece is that it's very earthy for me. It seems to possess the elements of the earth. And I like the fact that the eye is looking at me, at the viewer, but behind it, there's this whole world going on.
Right.
You know, there's a whole world. There's elements. You have the blue. You know, and from my perspective, you have the ocean. You know, on one side, the green represents the earth, and the other corner, the upper left corner, from my viewing standpoint, is the red, the love. You know, the life. And on the right hand side, I see the hues of the sun, which can be very fiery at times. And in the middle, it's sort of that abyss.
Yeah. And I love saying that, because that is kind of what I was going for when I was painting it. And almost in an order, in like
okay.
So from left to right, like the red and the pink is kind of that feeling of like butterflies and you know, attraction, and, you know, all of that. Then moving into like the sun, the brightness, all of that, to leading into the grounding of it, to leading into the flow of things, and kind of the thought, you know, I plan on being with this person through these emotions, through this, you know, just from the sight, right? Just from the sight.
And I like the way, I can't quite figure out what they mean to me yet, because I'm getting sort of like the thorns of Christ, you know, with the eyelashes. The way the eyelashes, they sort of like thorns to me a little bit, but this sort of crowning effect. Yeah, interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Now, let me ask you a question. Was there any type of lyrical? Can we bring the picture down for a minute, just so I want to be able to see Sammie? Thank you. Was there any type of lyrical correlation with any of those pieces? Because I know that you're a poet. I know that you're a lyricist. You're melodic. Was there any? Did it come out of an iteration of something that you wrote, and then it evolved into that?
So
or vice versa?
I do often tie things together like that, but they were more painted through inspiration of what was going on in the world at the time, and then that with that piece, what was going on in my world at the time.
Okay.
You know, so I had been intrigued or infatuated, and was taken through all these emotions, and I had to, just as I do with the music, I had to put it on something. You know, I had to express it somehow.
Right. So you're a multifaceted artist. Do you have an artistic preference where you lean into one art more than another?
So I feel like I feel like to play one more than the other is almost like it's like choosing between, do I like this sunny day more than this sunny day, right? They're both sunny days that I can relish in and express myself. So I truly love to make music. I truly love to do visual art, particularly painting, right? It's just different forms, different mediums of self-expression, different ways to connect with people. Poetry, writing, music, the singing or the rapping, whichever comes first. A lot of times too with producing, sometimes the beat comes first. Sometimes it comes from all over. So I just lean into my soul. I just am guided to create more
Like
than more than I like to, decide I'm gonna do this. It just happens. It's just so.
yeah, it's I equate it to and even that question equated to a parent who has more than one child, and someone goes, well, who's your favorite child? you
Yeah.
know it's like, well, I gave birth to them both, or I brought both of them into the world, or both of them were gifted to me. It's how do you choose that when they all are coming from the love from your heart?
Yeah, exactly.
So I respect that. If artivism, right? Because it's leading with artivism is the name of the show. Means to use our creativity and art plus actism to denounce, cultivate awareness, elevate or motivate change in society. How do you feel your artistic journey and work connects to artivism?
Wow. It's a beautiful question. And, I think that my art, my music, my self-expression, even speaking is a form of art, it's all me. It's not like a part of me or something I do. It is me. So by me, I mean my journey. And I think that my journey really reflects determination and authenticity and a level of connectivity to the world. So I am very connected to myself, but also with the world. And I think that my art, my work, my creation, who I am, I break boundaries,
Mm.
being genre defining or, being a white female rapper, right? As one
Right,
of
right.
the news. But I think even beyond that, I would say breaking stigmas and stereotypes against those struggling with substance use disorder
Hmm.
or mental illness, right? Because I have overcome, and so I'm like a testament of, you're not always. There's this saying, and it's like, once an addict, always an addict, or
Right.
a junkie, or negative connotations. But I'm here to prove that you can evolve, you can completely transform your life,
Hmm.
and you don't have to be stuck in that box in so many different ways. I think
And I definitely want to get more into your story, more into Sammie. But I do believe we have a video that I want to have someone pull up with the team. Do we have that available?
let's see.
Oh, you sent the video. I don't know if they have it available yet. Okay, that was a message from you. All right, maybe they don't have it yet. Okay, all right. So let's go on, and let's go on to talk about the story. Let's talk about Sammie.
Okay.
Versus Sammie versus the art piece. I know your story of addiction. I remember when you came into open mic in the Valley. I'm going back now, and not everyone chooses a path of what I call courageous vulnerability, where one opens their heart and truth to be shared with others as perhaps an inspiration to be a catalyst of change. For those who may be walking a similar journey.
Hmm.
Talk to me about that. was this a conscious decision or an organic evolution to, because for me, that is your artivism, telling your story,
Yeah.
being that catalyst of change through your story, through that, I was an addict. This is my story. How does this relate to your life? How can it be transformed for you? How did you come to that place?
It was organic, right? Like I want to say that self-expression has been a major part of my life, and my music has evolved. Well, everything has evolved as I have. But as far as making that change from like the darkness to the light, I guess to put it in a simple way is first of all, my mom, right? My mom plays a huge role. My mom, and I wanted to get better so that I could have her in my life. Because for a while, it wasn't about me. Before I entered this world of recovery, it wasn't about me. And I went through a lot of deep stuff. So I mean, every time that I was thinking suicidal thoughts, or what stopped me was the thought of my mom. And so until I came into recovery, she was the only reason I was alive. And the music and the art really kept me okay too, with my dad's passing and everything that happened. It's been a lot, right? So getting into recovery, being able to connect with people who have been through the same thing. And so now I'm feeling less alone in my thoughts and in the things that I've done. And so I really think that it's the being able to connect. Getting vulnerable, I wasn't so vulnerable when I was younger because I wasn't sure how to even understand and accept what I was feeling. I just thought I was crazy, and if I said what I was feeling, I'd be told I'm crazy, right? Not realizing.
Let me ask you a question. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you say, you were told, you thought that you would be told that you were crazy, or more or less rejected in a negative way because of what thoughts that you were having in your head. Now, what type of thoughts were those thoughts? Was this prior to addiction? Ultimately leading you to addiction? Was the depression start after your dad passed? I mean, what was that? What was that trigger? Because that may be insightful, for someone out there who's listening, who may not have tried, drugs, so to speak, and they're in this sort of dark space.
Yeah.
And maybe hoping for a sense of belonging or a sense of community.
Yeah, I think it's so important to reach out. I mean, listen, the only way that I was able to get to where I'm at was through being honest about how I was feeling and what I was thinking and where I was at. So reaching out was key. Being open to allowing others to pour into me was major. Getting closer with my higher power was and is, all of this is still so important and vital in my life. So being vulnerable is really it's good for everybody involved, right? Because we get to relate to one another. So I think for people who are struggling, please reach out, because you are not the only one. You are not the only one who has thought those terrible thoughts or been in such a dark place. And it is possible. It is possible to move out of that, where I thought I would never make it out of that darkness. I felt hopeless. I felt helpless. But there was help and there was hope. And so I just had to be vulnerable and open to people who cared about me. And there's so many resources out there for people.
I think also from the outsider looking in, right? Art was a lifeline for you, outside of your mom, which is the obvious. And shout out to your mom. She's such a beautiful woman, a beautiful human being, you know. But outside of your mom, you kept coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, literally, you kept coming back.
Yeah.
To that artistic community.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for myself, I could tell that it was a lifeline.
Yeah.
So it was always important to have that place of welcome, a welcome place.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful for you, because during such a difficult period of my life, you were somebody who was so inspirational to me. And someone who was a positive force in my life, encouraging me to express myself. Because you're right, during that time of my life, it was really tough. My father had just passed away, and I needed to express myself. And poetry was really where it all started. By the way, it's a World Poetry Day, I think, or National Poetry Day.
National Poetry Day.
It is, right?
I believe so today. But today is the 20th. Yes, March 20th.
I love that, because that's where it started. I was able to find my voice, and I was able to connect with others, and I was able to share my pain in a creative way. So you're right, that was a lifeline for me. That was a way to cope in a healthy way.
And you're a dope poet, by the way.
Thank you.
You're a great poet. Just give a plug real quick of how people can support you. Where's your your art, your website, all that good stuff.
So my website is sammiebcreative.com, and that's SAMMIEB creative.com. You could find my music, my merch, my paintings, all there, all in that place. And on Instagram, it's Sammie Bizzle, SAMMIEBIZZLE. And Facebook, Sammie B, YouTube, Sammie B, Spotify, Sammie B, Tidal, Deezer, Apple, all of them, Sammie B. My music is pretty much everywhere. I have music videos out, lyric videos out, and things like that.
So how did we get to Sammie B? How did we become Sammie B?
How did I, or how do we?
How did the name come about? How did the name come about?
Okay. So my name is Samantha. My last name starts with a B. My middle name also starts with a B. And that's so funny. How it came about, I had a neighbor, same age as me, and her name was Samantha, but her last initial was I. And so it came about from being in a neighborhood playing with my childhood friends, and her dad actually. And he used to always be outside smoking a cigar. And he says, we should call you Sammie B. So we could tell the difference, right? And it's funny that I'm telling this story, because when I had visited, she had moved, a long time ago. We were in like 7th. But we stayed in touch. And, me and her family have stayed in touch. And they're so funny. They're like, you better not ever tell that. He's going to want to cut. Because that's how it came about. I've been called Sammie B ever since. So pretty much forever.
Those little stories make the difference, because they shape us. They shape part of our, not only if you're an artist, your artistic journey, but it's a chisel. Mm-hmm. I like to look at it sort of like Rodin, creating the thinker. It's a chisel.
Yeah.
It's a chisel. It's an important curve. It's the eye. It's the introspection that creates who we are. And you sharing that story made you smile.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Made you smile. Samuel, I'm going to ask you a question. If you had the opportunity to say one thing to someone out there who's struggling, what would you say to that person? What would be that one thing?
I would say to never give up on yourself and never give up on your dreams. Never give up, because I wanted to give up so many times on myself. With the severe depression and with things that have happened, and feeling like I'm beat down and I'm beat down and I'm beat down, and how am I going to ever get up? And, I'm really struggling, but I didn't give up. I'm still here, right?
Right.
We all have a purpose, and it might take a little while to figure that out. There's a plan for us. We have to trust the process and just keep going. There's a saying I heard, and it's like, if you're in hell, why stop there? Why stop in hell, right? Keep going, because you may not see the end of the tunnel, the light that they talk about, but it is there. Just keep going. Whether you're able to have a nice jog going, you're barely walking, or you're crawling, as long as you're able to keep going, it will eventually get better. Just don't give up.
And that is what you do through your art and through your messaging. That is your artivism. That is your voice being a catalyst for change in society, in a community. Something key that you said about dreams. There's a saying that says, chase your dreams. And I'm a word person, you're a word person, and there may be a plan that pre-exists, but it also, you're empowered to execute. You're part of that. And so in that, I often tell people, don't chase the dream, because you don't always catch everything you chase. The create the dream, execute the plan for your dream, learn from the mistakes, and grow. Because we can all chase stuff, but it takes a different mindset to manifest it. And I watch you do your work, on Instagram. I watch the work that you've been putting in when you got focused on your dream.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you put in the work, and it's manifesting for you.
I agree. I think it's all about energy. It's all about being in alignment. And I think you're right. As far as to hustle and to grind and stay doing your thing is one thing. But that saying, like, to chase your dreams, it almost seems like it's running from you when it's not.
Right.
It's there for you, for the taking. It is actually yours. It is yours now. You just may not see it in the moment. But if you stay in alignment with that energy of, it's for you. The vision was put in your heart for a reason, because that is you. Your future self that you see, and having all of these beautiful things and being all of these beautiful things is you. Just step into that, because that is who you are.
So I think we have one more, a snippet of a video. Can we bring that up? And this one is of your music, I believe.
Awesome.
Talk to us about that. I like that rhythm. What's the title of that?
Thank you. That one's called Wings.
Wings.
Yeah. So
what was the inspiration of that piece?
So Wings actually came about. It was inspired from a near-death experience that I had. Pretty much right before I came into recovery, I had overdosed and had a near-death experience. And it's it's a really powerful experience and story, and pretty intense. But I felt the presence of my dad there. I actually heard his voice. I felt the presence of God there, and I had found my purpose for sure in that moment. Without any doubt that I'm to come back to this physical realm and help others with my passion and my creation in life. And so, I felt that I had made like a promise in that moment, in coming back, in coming to, right? That, I would, and this is it's so deep, right? But it's, I really, what I'm saying is that, I got my angel wings and I didn't have to die, right? Because I feel that our angels guide us, right? I feel like my dad guides me and supports me and protects me, and places people like you in my life, or people, situations and opportunities and beautiful lessons and all of it. And so, I'm able to do that without having to pass over to that other realm. And I want to accomplish that and continue to inspire, encourage, uplift, build, support, guide others in a creative and passionate way, right here in this body, in this physical realm. And that's pretty much what it's about, because I felt that's what I found in that moment, and I'm so grateful to be aligned with that purpose.
Well, you are living that purpose, Sammie. Follow her on Instagram, on social media, listen to her work. It's very inspiring. If she's doing an art show, show up and support not only Sammie, but the other artists that she often will be around. And so, Sammie B, bling!
I love you, Gold.
I love you too. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today on Leading with Artivism. Appreciate you. And thank you for acknowledging it's actually World Poetry Day, March 21st, World Poetry Day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's a beautiful thing. Go read some poetry.
Absolutely, I will. Thank you, Sammie, for being with us here today at Leading with Artivism. Thank you to our backstage manager and team, Adriana and Christian at Arts Mid-Hudson. I appreciate you. This could not be done without you. And our next show will be in June. So stay close to my pages on social media. Follow me on Instagram _poetgold_ and on Facebook, poetgold-BGW, or Art Mid-Hudson page for the dates and time. We will feature an incredible artist out of Ulster County next in June. Her name is, who has a national impact, and her name is Carmen Lizardo. So that's going to be a wonderful show. So make sure you tune in. Sammie B, I love you.
I love you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to all who tune in, who will tune in, and much love, light, and positive energy to everybody out there.
Absolutely. Until then, stay lifted. I'm your host, Poet Gold. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to Leading with Artivism.
Thank you.